What's up? Welcome back to Ultralance Productions, and yeah, it's been a minute. For those of you who are curious on what's going on, where I've been, and what's the future of this channel, I will be explaining that in a future video, probably dropping that next weekend, so until then, please be patient. Now, for those of you who read the title of this video, I am basically going to be ranking every version of Gohan. Now, before we do that, I would really appreciate it if you guys left a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications, as it really does help out the channel. Now, what inspired me to do this video was watching the trailer for the Dragon Ball Super superhero movie and seeing how savage Gohan was. It made me think, we're getting a more badass version of Gohan. And if you think about it, there are a fuck ton of variations of Gohan that have been made, throughout Dragon Ball Z's tenure. When we're first introduced to Gohan, he was 4 years old and was just a little boy, and now he's a grown man. And since we pretty much saw him grow up right in front of us, and we've seen several variations of him throughout the years, I think it makes perfect sense to do a video like this. Now, before we start, there are some things that you should know in advance. First off, there might be something I might say that you might disagree with. So please don't get toxic in my comments like how you guys did on my soccer videos. This ain't the video for that. Secondly, I am splitting up Busaka Gohan from Great Saiyaman, Potential Unleashed Gohan, Orange Star High School Gohan, and Pre-Potential Unleashed Gohan. And the reason why is because his character between all four of these stages are very different, even though they do occur in the same arc. Now, with that being said, let's get into the video.
And you can find me in a space where happiness is now a rarity. I pump gorilla, so enforce my foes and feel the energy. Rolling, we ain't slept in about a couple weeks.
At number 9, we have Orange Star High School Gohan. Are we all not surprised that this is at number 9? After the Cell games, there was like this little time period that was just pretty boring. It was pretty much just a long stretch of slice of life episodes, and that was just pretty boring. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but what I will say is I don't think anybody wants to see Gohan in high school for at least a long stretch of episodes. And the only redeeming quality about this form of Gohan was this was him working towards his goal of becoming a scholar, which is what his character was all about. Now, coming in at number 8, we have GT Gohan. Once again, are we all not surprised? One of my main complaints about Dragon Ball GT is that there are so many characters that are underutilized, and Gohan is one of them. When we first see Gohan, we see that he's accomplished. He reached his goal of being a scholar, but we don't see him much after. We pretty much only see him towards the end of Goku, Trunks, and Pan's trip of getting the Black Star Dragon Balls. The first time we see him, it's in a fight against Goten, who's possessed by Baby, and I'm not gonna lie, that fight was pretty underwhelming. Gohan then becomes possessed by Baby, and we don't really see him become full of himself until like the very last battle where he's giving his energy to Goku, since Super Saiyan 4 is the only thing that can beat him. We do see him have his fight with General Wildo, but that's also very underwhelming because of how long it lasts, and it wasn't really a very good fight to begin with. And then for the Shadow Dragon arc, he just didn't need to be there. He was a complete non-factor. At number 7, we have the Great Saiyaman. This version of Gohan has very mixed reception. Some people hate it, some people don't, and I personally can't decide between the two. When I was little, I loved this and I thought it was cool, but as I got older, I was kind of like, this is kind of corny. Now, with that being said, there are some redeeming qualities. One was that he was trying to hide his identity while fighting crime, and also he didn't want Videl to find out. But Videl did find out, and that leads us to our next variation of Gohan. At number 6, we have Gohan before getting his potential unleashed. Now, there's nothing wrong with this variation of Gohan, but you gotta admit, if you think about it, he was taking a lot of L's, this variation at least. First, Videl finds out that Gohan is really the one behind Great Saiyaman and blackmails him to join the World Martial Arts Tournament, or else he'll reveal his identity. You have Vegeta who's taking cheap shots at him for not keeping up with his training. He gets his energy absorbed by Spovich and Yamu. He gets his ass folded by Deborah. And then to top it all off, he gets his ass beat by Majin Buu. It's kind of funny if you think about it, because Toriyama was giving Gohan the Yamcha treatment, but at the same time, he ain't deserve that. On the bright side, at least he got with Videl. Now, at number 5, we have Potential Unleashed Gohan. Gohan in Potential Unleashed is savage, at least in this part, by the way. Gohan gets this cool-ass power-up, and he straight up wrecks Majin Buu. And for a split second, this was actually my favorite fight of Gohan for a split second. The reason why it's not my favorite anymore is because I recently just rewatched a good portion of Dragon Ball Z, and this fight was something that I saw, and it is pretty underwhelming. We don't see Ultimate Gohan for long because he gets absorbed, and that kind of let me down. In terms of redeeming qualities, this was an upgrade of what we saw earlier of Gohan in the Buu Saga. And not only that, but at this point, Gohan realized that he needed to take his training a little bit more seriously because he got knocked out by Fat Buu. He got knocked out by Deborah, as I just said in the last portion. And then not only that, but he saw that his home was being destroyed back on Earth. So, he took the time to train and he became probably like the most powerful he's ever been, up until this point. But moving on. Coming in at number 4, we have Kid Gohan. This was Gohan when he was first introduced as a character. He was a 4-year-old boy, small and scrawny, wasn't really a warrior, but he wanted to be a great scholar, according to his mom. This was like the early stages of Gohan learning how to become a warrior, from the time he was introduced all the way until the time when he went into the time chamber for the first time, which is when I kind of end that section of Gohan off. Character development aside, have you seen this little nigga angry? When Gohan is angry, especially as a little kid, his little burst of strengths, where he gets like his few little hits in, those are like funny, and then they're also cool to watch, because he did it against Frieza, he's done it against Raditz, he's done it against Vegeta, as you can see when he went Grade 8 for the first time, when he, pretty much got Piccolo to destroy the moon. And then there's a few other times that I'm probably not remembering from the top of my head. This part of the video is unscripted. But yeah. But there is a reason why he's not top 3. The reason why Kid Gohan is not top 3 is because these next 3 Gohans that we're about to discuss have character arcs that I don't think Kid Gohan really has anything on. But, he's a good Gohan. This is a runner-up spot. And by the way, before we go to our number 3 pick, remember when I said in the beginning of the video that there's going to be something controversial? Controversial things about to come up, so please don't get offended. And yes, that does mean that Dragon Ball Super Gohan is at number 3. Now, before you guys click on that dislike button that doesn't even exist anymore, let me explain. First off, I understand that Gohan has gotten weaker in this arc. I understand that, but you guys gotta remember that Gohan never wanted to be a fighter to begin with. He wanted to be a scholar, which, as you can see, he was working towards, so it makes sense for him to stop his training. Gohan did step up during the Resurrection F arc, and he did almost die, but he actually learned from this mistake. He went back to taking his training seriously, he got his ultimate form back that he got towards the end of the Buu Saga, and he was able to hold his own against Goku while in Super Saiyan Blue for a brief moment, which is something that is significant. And then Goku was impressed enough by this that he actually made him the captain of, the Tournament of Power for Universe 7. Like that's not something that shouldn't go unnoticed or unappreciated. And I feel like a lot of Dragon Ball Z fans tend to do that. Gohan even maintained his power through the Moro arc, which is impressive. And then it seems like from this new Dragon Ball Super movie that we're gonna get, Dragon Ball Super Superhero, he actually maintains it. And he didn't, go back to his old ways of, oh, okay, it's another moment of peace, I'm just gonna, take a step back. No, he actually, stuck to his training and maintained what he gained. All the strength he gained, all his skill, like he's not taking any rest. And I think I do understand that, you can call it lazy writing, and, that's exactly what it is. Because if you think about it, they did do this, in the Buu arc, where Gohan was like, oh, I shouldn't have, stopped training. But I feel like in Dragon Ball Super, it's done a whole lot better. and it was able to stick more, which is the reason why I give this one, the edge, and it's also why I give it the number 3 spot. Now we're moving into the top 2. Now, when it comes to the top 2, these are 2 versions of Gohan that are really, really loved by all of the Dragon Ball Z fandom. And in my opinion, I think those 2 versions are very interchangeable. So if you had my number 2 at your number 1, I wouldn't be mad at you. And if you had my number 1 at number 2, I wouldn't be mad at you. So with that being said, let's go in to number 2. Now my number 2 is Teen Gohan. Like I said, this version of Gohan is one of the versions of Gohan that is universally loved by the Dragon Ball Z fandom. And this version of Gohan is from his time while training into the hyperbolic time chamber all the way until the end of the Cell arc. First, he conquered a crazy feat, which is going Super Saiyan at a very young age, which only 3 people have done that, which is him, Goten, his little brother, and then, Kid Trunks of this timeline. Then when he has his most intense battle going up against Cell, he pushes his limits and he goes Super Saiyan 2, and at that, he's the youngest to ever go Super Saiyan 2. And no, Gontex does not count, that is a fusion. Gohan turning Super Saiyan 2 was just one of those monumental moments of Dragon Ball Z, like ever. Gohan kills all of the Cell Juniors, and then he makes Cell his literal bitch. Gohan whooped his ass so bad that he actually made him revert back to semi-perfect Cell and throw up Android 18. Now Gohan does make a mistake and doesn't finish him off right away when he really should have, because then Cell takes a desperate measure by puffing himself up, and if he's punched, he'll blow up. And I'm not gonna lie, this did irritate me, and it is the one thing that kept him from the number 1 spot, because you guys know how I feel about when, Saiyans have like that cocky Saiyan moment. It kind of irritates me. But he did end up finishing off Cell and fixed his mistake later on. But it's like I said, the fact that he had a cocky Saiyan moment, it kind of, made me look at his character a little bit, funny. And, it held him back from being number 1. But other than that, this Gohan is pretty much flawless. But for the moment you guys have all been waiting for, let's move to our number 1 spot. Now at number 1, we have Future Gohan, and in my mind, this is the best version of Gohan. You all know that this version of Gohan is from the movie History of Trunks, which is a great movie. You know how people say Heath Ledger's Joker is what made The Dark Knight good? Well, Future Gohan is what made the History of Trunks good. Future Gohan is very different from the other versions of Gohan. Future Gohan is the only warrior left in the whole entire world. The Z Fighters were slaughtered by androids 17 and 18. And in this timeline, Piccolo never fused with Kami, so that means the Dragon Balls did exist up until Piccolo was slaughtered by androids 17 and 18. So it's not like there's any Dragon Balls that Gohan could use to bring everybody back. This also means that he's not able to pursue his dream of becoming a scholar. Instead, he tries his best to protect the last of humanity and at the same time train Trunks to become a Super Saiyan since he knows that he's the last hope. He does lose an arm fighting the androids, and another attack happens and he knocks out Trunks because he doesn't want anything to happen to him, and also, like I said, Trunks is the last hope. So he goes off, fights him by himself, and, ends up dying fighting against him. Then, as you all know, Gohan does die fighting the androids, and Trunks stumbles upon his corpse, and this was equivalent to Itachi slaughtering the whole entire clan right in front of Sasuke for him to get a Sharingan, because Trunks goes Super Saiyan after seeing this, and it gives the perfect ending to one of the most perfect characters that Akira Toriyama ever made or ever written. And again, this is another monumental moment in Dragon Ball. And with that being said, I would like to leave off my ranking right here. And that brings us to the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed this. This took a long time to make, and managing my time to make this wasn't very easy either. But yeah, expect an update next weekend. That video will basically tell you my plans for the future, and it'll explain my absences and give you guys a little bit of a better understanding of what I'm going through down here. And this time I promise I won't flake on you guys, just like how I did on that update video that I posted 6 months ago, which I am sorry for that. And with that being said, please leave a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so that you guys don't miss a future video. Peace.
I built this shit from the dirt like a handyman, and Bob can do it, then many can. They wanna know how the flow is so sweetly buzzing through the streets. My name sound like the Candyman. Think I caught the ugly cause they still don't let me die.